Be here.
It's great to have you here. Let's get right into this here. I'm very happy to have you on to talk about this disconnect we have with the younger generation. What do most people get wrong about Gen Z?
Well, I've heard a lot of people complaining that Gen Z is lazy or directionless.
Mm,
And while the behaviors might indicate that that's a valid story, what's really going on is that they are overwhelmed and anxious, and they really do want to make something of themselves. They want to make an impact, they want to be their best selves. They just don't always know how.
that's true. They don't always know how. And I like how you brought that up because it's the first thing we think is they, here's some of the things I've heard. They're entitled. They feel
Mhm.
entitled. They don't know how to work hard. They want everything
Mhm.
easy. They want the shortcuts to everything. And I believe that we're living in this world where things are different now. Like you and I, we come from a different generation. The thing now, I'm considered to be a millennial, so I'm on the
I'm
tail
a
end of
Gen X.
the Gen X, right? So we came from that era where everything was
Mhm.
changing at once, and we kind of was able to be guided through those changes. Like for instance, for me, I was in the era of cassettes, and then it went to CDs, and then it went to DVD players, and it went to MP3s. So we kind of slowly got guided by society into changes, whereas now things are very different. I was doing some research, and I was shocked to hear this, Sarah, that the generation Gen Z, they take up more than one quarter of America's population, making them larger than baby boomers and millennials. So when we
Ooh,
talk
that's
about
cool.
that, that's a huge number, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much going on with this generation. What do you find is a reoccurring concern with this generation right now?
One of the big things is mental health. They
Mm,
are beautifully aware that mental health is important, and the support they're getting is not up to the standards they need. So they're really aware of this. And a lot of us adults too, we're really aware that there's a mental health crisis. Teen suicide is
mhm.
on the rise, and it's affecting kids you wouldn't expect. So there's this underlying anxiety in these kids, these young adults who are feeling a lot of pressure. And sometimes, honestly, it's pressure they're putting on themselves, but they haven't been equipped with the tools to regulate it, to handle pressure, whether it's from their own selves or from other sources, jobs, school, whatever it might be. So there's this simmering anxiety, and I had a young man tell me they grew up hearing about 9/11, 9/11. Terrorists can strike at any time. 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. So it's like even before COVID, which is a whole other thing they've been dealing with, even before then, it's 9/11, it's school shootings, it's like all of these things that have blown up in the news. They've just been peppered and inundated with it their whole lives.
Mm,
I mean, my son was born in 2007, so well after 9/11. But again,
mm.
it's in recent history. It's not that far gone from where they are. And then again, the school shootings and the divisive news, politics, all of the things. They are looking for identity, purpose, belonging in this crazy mixed up world that most adults are not handling well, let's be honest.
That is true.
So what
Yeah.
are they supposed to do? How
Hmm.
are they supposed to be acting?
That is true because even as adults, we are the same way. We're trying to figure ourselves out along this fiasco of multiple changes and unpredictable outcomes that are happening. And you brought up a great point. They are coming in an era where they're just brought into this. There's just so much that they can't control that is
Mhm.
happening that's in their face. And I like to add too that social media
Yeah.
is an or accessible point that they have that we didn't have growing
Mhm.
up. And so they have
Whole other conversation.
a whole other conversation that we'll have to have,
Yeah.
but they have more of a finger touch away of what's going on around the world versus
Mhm.
we had to sit down, watch the news, or hear it from our
Right.
adult peers, whereas everything is different now. And I find that that's, like you said, a big problem. What brought you into this work? I mean, this purpose that you're doing now, working with young adults to help them play in their passions and own their future like a boss.